Welcome everybody to Straight Shooter Wrestling Podcast. I'm one half of your host, Santi, here with Steve, fresh off the heels of Crown Jewel 2022. How are you, Steve?
Not too bad, buddy. I'm a little exhausted from that last match, but we're gonna get into everything and review it all. But my God, for a slow starting pay-per-view, Santi, are we impressed?
I'm not as a whole. I still think that it was a very weak show. We can talk a little bit more about that. I do think that it ended on a very, very, very high note. But I think overall, as a show, it felt, again, like a glorified house show. Again, we'll get into our opinions here. But overall, Steve, it sounds like you maybe enjoyed the pay-per-view a little bit more than I did. But let's go on it on a match-by-match basis. And we're just going to start off right with the main event. The match that we're talking about that got us so exhausted, and that's the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns versus Logan Paul. As a quick recap, Roman Reigns did defeat Logan Paul via pinfall. We had interactions from the Usos coming out, the cast of Impulsive with Mike and George getting their asses absolutely handed to them by the Usos, and it was beautiful. We had a run-in from from Jake Paul, who took out both the Usos, and then Solo Sikoa, who maybe we just got a little of a glimpse of a potential match in the future between Solo Sikoa and Jake Paul there. Inevitably, after all of those distractions, Roman Reigns does hit the Superman punch followed by the spear for the 1, 2, 3. And overall, just a very fun match. Steve, I'll let you get us started here in terms of what you think and overall thoughts.
It's kind of funny, Santi, because we were live for this entire event on both YouTube and TikTok, and there was a comment that scrolled by. I don't know who it was from. I apologize, but they said that match was booked and went exactly how it needed to go. It made Logan look strong. It had weaknesses of Roman, like kind of cracks in the armor. Paul Heyman sold it. The commentary team did everything right. All the interactions, like you just mentioned, from everybody else who got involved. That match, overall, I think is match of the night. I was very surprised that I'm actually giving it match of the night, but honestly, I don't think it could have gone any better. I was on the edge of my seat most of the time, thinking like, are they actually going to do this? Like, there was the two close counts for Logan. You and I both sat there and you made some weird noise that I think we're gonna have to clip into a GIF. But like, it's one of those ones where you're like, this actually could happen. At the start of this, we were like, no, like, this isn't happening. They're going to try and draw it out, but they actually made it look close. So honestly, like, really well done match. Very well put together by the production team. And credit to Logan Paul. My God, the guy's an athlete. I think he pulled every old move out of the book for every finisher out of the book. I mean, except for the Stone Cold Stunner and the Choke Slam. But, like, that man did everything to try and get over on Roman Reigns today, and just wasn't enough.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I definitely want to talk about. I want to talk about Logan Paul's performance. So I don't want to sound like a hipster. I really don't. But I have to give myself credit where credit is due, because I've been the one waving the Logan Paul flag since the inception of the idea of having Logan Paul in anything related to the WWE. I've been telling everybody that this guy is a showman and a super athlete, and now he's putting it all together and crafting some very wonderful WWE matches, to the point where there was a quote from Bad News Barrett which really stuck out to me, which was, Logan Paul is the best 3-match wrestler he has ever seen in his life. And I think that genuinely does ring true for anyone that we've ever seen. Not that we've seen any 3-match people really per se, but like around the world, I gotta assume that he's number one in terms of the little experience that he has in converting it into main event quality matches, as he did with Roman Reigns. And let's not overlook the fact that, yes, okay, sure, it's Saudi Arabia, so it's tough to tell audience reaction in Saudi Arabia versus what you might get in Europe or in North America, but he was over. Absolutely over with the crowd in Riyadh. What did you think?
Honestly, like, from the entrance, live streaming it on his Logan Paul Instagram, it's the first time I think we've ever seen that in WWE. I actually don't recall anyone ever doing that, so that was pretty cool. The crowd, listen, you have to understand that, like, with the Saudi crowd and the Middle East and over in Asia as well, like in Japan, like, you look at Wrestle Kingdom, the crowd is not out of their seat losing their mind. It's more of a respect thing of let the performance go. And we're starting to see more of the Americanized crowd come over to Saudi Arabia, but you weren't always going to get that rustic, crazy crowd, or that ruthless, crazy crowd, sorry, that's really going to carry the show like we saw in Wales. But for what Logan's entrance was, his ability to draw a reaction, there are wrestlers that have been in this organization and in this business for a decade that don't draw the same reaction as Logan Paul was able to do tonight. And that speaks wonders for him and where he could potentially go. Is he going to be a full-time competitor, or are we just going to see this as a short-term contract? Short-term contract, probably. But what he's doing in the ring in every single event, he's drawing. He's drawing a reaction of some kind, and that's one of the hardest things to do. So I'm really, really, really impressed with Logan Paul on this.
Yeah, Logan Paul was pulling out some wonderful moves. Of course, I think the highlight of the match for me in terms of moves was Logan Paul's splash from the top turnbuckle into the Saudi announce table while live streaming, holding his cell phone and filming himself all the way from landing all the way to impact. It was beautiful. It was beautifully orchestrated. He didn't protect himself very well. These are things that you start to learn as you lace the boots more and more. But just overall, like, Logan is just, he's the whole package, man. Like, he's got the look, he's got the entertainment aspect of it, and he can go in the ring. Like, think about what he is capable of if he just continues to train and continues to have more marquee matches. Like, this guy, like, do not call me crazy. Do not call me crazy, because I think we've already seen the type of stock that WWE has in this guy. It is not crazy that in 2 years he's a WWE champion. It really genuinely is not. It might make you puke now, but you got to recognize the amount of money and opportunity that a guy that Logan Paul brings, and then he's also able to back it in the ring. We're going to see a lot more Logan Paul.
Yep, absolutely. And it's going to be one of those ones where, like you said, you might cringe at the idea that Logan is, in fact, potentially WWE World Championship material. Right now, don't think so. Does he have to go back to the drawing board? No, I don't think so. I think he's proving himself in the ring. But when it comes to his future in the WWE, it's going to be one of those ones that's up in the air for now.
No, I agree. Steve, we'll keep the rating very simple. Would you give this match a thumbs up or thumbs down?
Thumbs up.
Yeah, big thumbs up for me as well. Absolute big thumbs up. Match of the night. Yeah, let's move on through this card here. We'll now go to the top of the card here. And we started off the match with a very confusing bit of booking with Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley, with Brock Lesnar getting manhandled for 98% of that match with the master lock or the hurt lock, and then in really not Brock Lesnar fashion, winning via a clumsy roll-up, a la something like Liv Morgan beating Ronda Rousey. And then after the match, we had the beatdown from Bobby Lashley on Brock Lesnar, putting Bobby over without the win. What did you think of this weird bout of booking?
I think this might be the worst piece of booking that we've seen in the Triple H era, and that's a big shout, because not everything's been great, but this by far, for the level of competition, the two men that were in the ring, and how long this has been drawn out that they've never really gone the one-on-one with each other. Santi, I don't know what to think of this. This was, you said a roll-up, a sloppy roll-up. It wasn't even a roll-up. He just kind of just laid out on him and put his hands down. Like, it was so weird. But then again, there was a comment that I saw saying it could be a new form of a heel turn for Bobby Lashley. And that I like, because right now they can't do anything with Brock Lesnar to make him a heel. Everyone is just over on Cowboy Brock. And it's kind of like, you can't, he's in that mid-range. He's like that anti-heel, very much like Austin was for his entire career. But Bobby needs an area in this. We're gonna see this match again at Survivor Series. I'm gonna assume, but Bobby needs a lane, and I think this heel turn lane is the best way for him. So that beatdown at the end of it was definitely a good step towards it. But really, this match was shit. Like, this match was absolute dog shit. So, yeah. What about you?
I mean, it started off fun with the shenanigans that were happening out of the ring, the spears, all that stuff. Like, it was starting off to be the type of match that you want to see from somebody like Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley. But then it turned into an overbooked mess, frankly. Yeah. I guess this is sort of part of the problem with the Saudi shows. In a match like this, I think really highlights it, that sometimes they just don't want to create concrete situations that end to like really concrete storylines. Like, you want to leave something ambiguous or up in the air. But yeah, with this, they definitely went the route of, oh, let's leave this up in the air for a potential match either at Survivor Series or Royal Rumble or WrestleMania, whatever it may be. But overall, like, to me, that match is a thumbs down.
Yeah, absolutely. Thumbs down.
Thumbs down. All right, the next match on the card here, we then had Damage CTRL, Dakota Kai and Io Sky defeating champions Alexa Bliss and Asuka via pinfall to win the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. And we had interference from Nikki Cross taking out Alexa Bliss, leading to a lot of speculation. Is this just a continuation of their old friendship, where Alexa Bliss eventually turned on Nikki Cross? Or is this something to do with The Fiend? Because we did have some Fiend Bray Wyatt 6 imagery right before the match, right behind Alexa Bliss on a TV screen. Either way, the run-in is what leads to the ultimate downfall of Alexa Bliss and Asuka, and we have new women's tag team champions in Dakota Kai and Io Sky. Overall thoughts, Steve?
Honestly, Santi, I think this has to do with rushed booking. I think there is actually a genuine injury to Asuka. I think that Alexa and Asuka were supposed to carry this a little bit more, because, listen, a 5-day reign does not make sense. It doesn't. So I think this was overall just rush booking. 5-day reigns are left for the 24/7 title and the Hardcore Championship. Women's tag titles need to get a little bit more respect put on them. And really, right now, what they've just done, unless it is an injury, it doesn't make sense. Asuka was favoring her knee that entire match. She looked sloppy in spots. I genuinely believe that this is a new move to get Alexa out of the tag division. Asuka's going to go on a break. Damage CTRL can have their tag titles, and we're going to see something running with Nikki and Alexa and potentially Bray Wyatt. So, honestly, overall, the match itself, I was not a fan of. This is, again, it was like the tale of two halves with this entire pay-per-view, and this match was just not amazing.
Yeah, this was definitely a continuation of our initial sour thoughts on this pay-per-view. It did start slow, and then this next match was also fairly slow and fairly weak. I'm also just concerned with, like, why did they take the titles off of Damage CTRL in the first place? Like, I get the concept of taking the titles off of Asuka now so that she can nurse that injury, but then why put the titles on her in the first place? I don't know if maybe they wanted to create the illusion that big things and big title changes can happen at a Saudi event, at a Saudi Arabian show. And this was maybe like their fake way of doing it, by like, oh, look at this crazy title change that just happened. But really, like, these people were just champions a week and a bit ago, maybe to help further justify why there are never any title changes at shows like these. But anyways, this gets a thumbs down from me as well.
Thumbs down.
All right, let's move on to the next match of the show. We are looking at Drew McIntyre defeating Karrion Kross alongside Scarlett by escaping the cage. So the match that I think a lot of people were really looking forward to in terms of it being hard-hitting and a big meaty man slapper of a match ended up being quite underwhelming, because the overall structure of the match went from two guys wanting to beat each other up to two guys wanting to escape from one another. That's my problem with the cage match, because the concept of somebody like Drew McIntyre or Karrion Kross wanting to get away from one another and escape to get a sly win just doesn't really ring true to me. I feel like these two really just need to be allowed to have a regular match, and I think the stipulation overall just really hurt it. In the end, Drew McIntyre does win by jumping off from the side of the cage before Karrion Kross is able to crawl out the front door. We had some interaction from Scarlett using the pepper spray one more time, this time on Drew McIntyre and a ref for some reason. But yeah, overall, I wasn't a big fan of this either. This was maybe one of the bigger disappointments for me.
For me, this was the biggest disappointment. When I did my prediction video the other day, this was my match of the night. This was the match that I was genuinely looking forward to. Two big guys that know how to work and can really put on a quality performance. Two also big guys that should be in that number 1 contenders section. What we talked about during the live was the cage match really doesn't make sense anymore for me. If they were going to do this and you want to book it right and you want these two guys to go at each other, you put them in a cell. You put them in Hell in a Cell. And you want a cage match, you want the violence, make them work. Because again, the entire concept of a cage match is the guy who doesn't want to be in the match escapes, and tries to run. That's always what a cage match has always been. So it's one of those ones where, like, Drew and Karrion are both guys who like to fight. What you said it to a T. These boys like to fight, so putting them in a match with a stipulation where they need to escape from each other makes absolutely no sense. I'm sorry, Santi, but thumbs down.
Thumbs down from me as well. I agree. So far the pay-per-view isn't looking great. Let's move on to the next match, the Judgment Day, in Finn Bálor, Damian Priest, and Dominik Mysterio alongside Rhea Ripley on the side, going up against the OC, AJ Styles, Luke Gallows, and Karl Anderson, and they defeat the OC via pinfall with Finn Bálor getting the pin over AJ Styles. I think a lot of people were expecting a female OC member to debut. I said not likely. I just don't think that it makes sense to debut a new female superstar in a country where they're not even allowed to wear their proper ring gear. And I think that did end up ringing true with the WWE, but we had some additional interference from Rhea Ripley, which is leading me to believe that there will be a female addition to the OC, just not in Saudi Arabia as I expected. The match itself, to me, Steve, this is when it started to get fun. The show, it had some good moments. I loved the interaction between Rhea Ripley and AJ Styles and Finn Bálor. I will say that I feel like we didn't get enough Dominik Mysterio. There's been a lot of buildup for him as being like the most unlikable person in WWE today. I really thought that maybe there would be some spot with Dominik Mysterio to give fans maybe additional ammo to fuel that Dominik Mysterio heat, or maybe a big spot where he goes through one of the tables or something to create fan satisfaction, but we didn't really get any of that. Overall, I thought the match was okay, and this is where the pay-per-view started to improve.
Yeah, really, like this was the match that really started to liven the card up and liven the matchup, or liven the crowd up as well. Not the way I thought it was going. Judgment Day have been on kind of a roll, but I really expected to see the OC finally get a turn. I was on the other impression that we were going to get a debut from a female competitor to join the OC. Listen, either way, no matter the result of this match, I think this is more of a long-term booking that we could actually get something very special at War Games between these two factions, and I'm hoping for it. So at the end of the day, I'm not disappointed with this match. Honestly, that's all I've got on this one. It's just one of those ones where I think it's just a match that needed to happen to tell a bit more of the story before we actually get to that final chapter. So for me, Santi, across, I'm going to give it... Yeah, I'll give it a thumbs up.
All right, I'll go. I think I'll go thumbs up as well. It was what it needed to be. It wasn't this spectacular match that maybe we were expecting. Next match, Braun Strowman defeating Omos via pinfall with one of the wildest running power slams that I've ever seen. It was a clean power slam from Braun Strowman to Omos, with Omos dominating 90% of that match. So, yeah. To me, Steve, this was shockingly entertaining. It
Yeah.
was what it needed to be. Braun Strowman looked his scary self with the way that he was able to pick up Omos the way that he did, and Omos just looked like a monster. Also, I really liked Omos just talking smack and talking trash
Yeah.
throughout that match. It felt like we were finally getting some character and a little bit of flavor from Omos rather than it just being all MVP. So
Yeah.
I would like to see more of that in-match trash talk from Omos.
Yeah, absolutely. We finally got to see a different side of Omos, instead of just being this big brute of a human. And like I think I mentioned during our live when we saw him in at the house show, he was just uncomfortably big. And they told this story very well when it comes to Braun and Omos. I don't think this is the end of this feud at all. I think Braun's going to come back for vengeance. But really, I was happy with this. I was really happy with this. There was great spots, the running power slam. Granted, I think I just got that wrong. Braun went over on this, not Omos. My apologies. With Omos coming back, that's what I was trying to say. I went the other way on this. With Omos coming back for the rest of the feud, I think this is going to go a little bit longer. But at the end of the day, I wasn't mad. This really, really was a good performance for both guys. Omos went over in a sense that he can perform. I just would have preferred to see a little bit more of like the violent spots. Two big men. There was a couple of decent spots, but I would have liked to see a little bit more violence. That's it. Either way, for me, my rating on this, thumbs up, definitely.
I agree. I think that this is a thumbs up all around. It was just a fun match, and it didn't overstep its stay. You know, it was 7 minutes of just chaos. The next match, we had the Usos, Jay and Jimmy, current champions, defeating the Brawling Brutes, Ridge Holland and Butch via pinfall for the WWE Undisputed Tag Team Championships. And up until the Roman Reigns match, this was match of the night. This was just fun. Four guys who were just at the top of their game. Ridge Holland actually really surprised me and really impressed me throughout this match. I think that they might have something in this guy. Like, the guy is just a freak of nature. He is like he is a bigger version of Sheamus that I think we're going to be getting here over the next couple of years, more and more of. So keep an eye out on Ridge Holland, and of course Butch is just such a technical wonder when it comes to technical wrestling. There was a spot where he was able to catch one of the Usos off the top rope into like a triangle, like finger snap. It was just beautiful. Either way, the Usos do go over. I don't think many of us were expecting the Usos to lose this match either way. But I like the interaction between the two. I do think that we're going to be getting more of this because there's still the storyline with Sheamus, how they're the ones that took out Sheamus. So I don't think this is the last of it, but overall, I think the match was a lot of fun.
Santi, I really think this shows why the Bloodline is kind of running the WWE right now, because all the guys in the Bloodline perform at the highest quality. When was the last time you said to me that an Uso match was bad? I don't remember.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the Usos can carry anyone, but the Brawling Brutes did not need to be carried in this match. They did phenomenal. And I mean phenomenal, like AJ Styles phenomenal. Like you said, Ridge Holland, I think there was a spot in the match where he had both Usos, one on each shoulder.
Yeah.
And he did a back something, I don't know. It was, for me, the Brawling Brutes need a little bit more respect. And hopefully we can see them move away from Sheamus in the next 6 months and actually become true contenders for those titles once the Bloodline drops them, because I was enthralled with their performance tonight. Like, absolutely incredible. And let's also mention another thing. Like, let's give a lot of credit to Ridge Holland coming back from like the horrendous start to the year that he had with the whole Big E situation. Yeah. Like, let's give him so much credit being able to come back from that and perform at this level and continue to be an up and coming star. So incredible match. I give it thumbs up.
I'm with you. I think up until that Roman Logan Paul match, this was the most entertaining match of the night. And then the final match that we're going to be talking about here, we have Bianca Belair once again defeating Bayley in a last woman standing match for the WWE Raw Women's Championship. Overall, the match was a bit weird, and like they tried to be really chaotic with the spots with like the the golf cart, but the golf cart was going at like 2 centimeters per hour. Like, it was just going so incredibly slow. The way that the match ended with Bianca Belair trapping Bayley underneath a ladder that was wedged on the corner of the ring, which, you know, in terms of booking is a little bit weird to me, considering she had just hit a KOD on top of a chair. So, like, if we're trying to get the KOD over, why did we need that ladder spot? I think my favorite spot of the match was probably the whack-a-mole with Bianca Belair, when Bianca Belair was wedged between the stairs and the ring. She kept popping up and down and getting hit with the kendo stick by Bayley. But overall, I'm disappointed with the decision to not have Bayley win here. As it stands, I feel like Bayley has done everything right to be able to call herself Raw Women's Champion. The Bianca Belair, like this Bianca Belair, like, she's amazing in so many regards, but just silly decisions, like just have her outright win with that KOD on the chair, rather than in this weird, like, backhanded attempt to be sly and sneaky. Like, it just doesn't work with the booking of Bianca Belair. Anyways, I'll toss it over to you.
Listen, man, like, I think you hit the nail on the head with every single point you made. This was chaotically boring. I think that's the best way I can describe this. It was chaotically boring. It was a typical, and everyone knows my opinion on Bianca Belair. It's just Bayley. We need something fresh. We need something new. The spots they tried just didn't work. Like you said, the whack-a-mole spot was kind of funny. Bianca getting caught in the box was kind of a funny spot at the top of the ramp there. I would have liked to see, like, Bianca get, like, pushed down the ramp in that. That would have been cool. But it just feels that they are running out of ideas to make Bianca look like an underdog, and they're still doing it. Even at the end when she won, it looked like she overcame Brock Lesnar. And granted, Bayley's one of the greatest of all times in the women's division, but she's not Charlotte, and it's just not. Stop reacting like you were so close to losing, because you weren't. It was just one of those matches where Bianca couldn't sell it for me, and it's not I'm trying not to be completely biased against Bianca. Like, I'm not trying to do that, but it showed my point in every aspect in this match. So for me, Santi, this is actually going to go down as the second worst match of the night for me. So
yeah, this is a thumbs down for me. I don't know if it's second worst match of the night for me. I didn't like it's not even that I'm whining and crying about the result. I just think how it got to the result was just bad. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it is going to be a thumbs down for me as well. I don't know if I want to see any more of this. That's the thing too. Like, do I want to see any more Bayley versus Bianca Belair? Like, no. All that's happened is Bayley's stock has just completely catapulted down to the ground because of this feud with Bianca Belair. So overall, like, in terms of character work, the match itself, like, it's an overall thumbs down for me. It's a big disappointment, because I was really expecting this match to be a dark horse for match of the night. But yeah, Steve, those are our matches. We'll leave it there. Thank you very much to everybody that is watching. If you're watching on YouTube, consider leaving this video a like, a comment. It is free to do all of those things, and it helps us out tremendously. Additionally, all of our links are down in the description below, including our Discord, our Twitters, our TikToks, our Twitch pages, everything of that nature. Thank you all very much for watching. Take care and be good people.
Take care.